It is Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You know what time it is. It's Allverse Thursdays. I'm super, super excited. Every Thursday I get really excited, So if you've seen the show before, you know that, I have a lot of energy fired up because I really feel like this show creates an opportunity for us to have some fun, to be entertained, to also be inspired, and to uplift each other. And so it brings me joy and a lot of gratification and satisfaction to be able to be a part of this. And shout out to the NIA Center, right? This show, the program is brought to you by the NIA Center. The NIA Center is an interfaith social justice and empowerment center. Really, NIA meaning purpose, right? Simply purpose and intent. And we want to educate, engage, and empower people under the umbrella of purpose. So grateful for the NIA Center for hosting us on this Allverse Thursday. So if you haven't followed us, if you're watching the show right now on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, make sure that you follow. If you're on Twitch, hit the little heart and that'll follow. That way you'll get notifications when we have programming that's getting ready to go live. You don't have to remember, oh, what time I forgot, anything like that. You can be supported in that way. Also, if you haven't checked out Twitch, I encourage you to switch over to Twitch. It's a really fun opportunity to interact. You don't get to talk on there, but you can interact in the chat, and you can play with there's some fun emotes and different things like that where you can express yourself in some other fun ways. There's a lot of really dope DJs on Twitch as well. So it's a space for a lot of things entertainment wise. So check us out on twitch.tv/NIA Center. If you're on Facebook, share the broadcast with your page, please share it with your friends. Let somebody else check out Allverse Thursdays. They might get something tonight. We got something really special planned for the group. And if you're on YouTube, share it. Let folks know. And so wherever you're checking in from, we appreciate you. We're glad to have you. We appreciate your support. And if you've not been on Allverse before, one of the things you need to know about that is we want you to be active in that. We welcome you in the chat. That's how we know how we're connecting with the audience, right? We know if you heard something you like, if you got a question, if whatever, you can put an emote, you can put words. We'll look at the comments from time to time to acknowledge them. And so please be active in the chat. Use the chat. We'll highlight your chat, and we will acknowledge you as well. Let me see. So today is March 11th. I think I saw on the news they were, I think it's the 1 year anniversary of the official it's COVID time. And, I was thinking back when I was hearing the news stories, I was like, wow, a year, that seems like much longer than a year to me. I don't know. So much has happened in these 12 months, and it's really going fast. I got some great news today. My daughter texts me, and she says, I got my first dose of the vaccine, right? And so the reason that I'm excited about that, and I know people may have different opinions about the vaccine, I'm pro get the vaccine, is because of the opportunities that it presents me to see my family, my mother, daughter, without the worry that I might give them something that could put them in the hospital, particularly kill them because they have some other health concerns. And so I got the vaccine. I'm getting my second dose March 17th. My mother got hers. My wife got her first dose on Tuesday. So I'm excited and looking forward to really engaging with my family. And I haven't seen my mother in a year and a half, right? So it's been a long time. And I want to be able to do that without any worries. So with that being said, it's Allverse Thursdays. It's a little bit after 8 o'clock. Hope you've tuned in. You've shared the broadcast with your people. You told somebody, you told a friend. I want to open up today. I'm in honor. I'm feeling Proverbs today. So in honor of my boy JB, Jeff Beasley, shout out to you. We're going to do some stuff from Proverbs. So as you know, I open up with a prayer, a poem, and a scripture. So this piece is called, Who Do I Turn To? Who do I turn to? When I think I know the answer, I turn to you to confirm it. When I am lost, I turn to you for direction. When I am tired, I turn to you for strength. When I'm sad, I turn to you for joy. When I am happy, I turn to you for moderation. When I'm scared or fearful, I turn to you for courage. When I am strong, I turn to you for compassion. And when I'm willing, I turn to you for discernment. When I'm confused, I turn to you for knowledge. When I'm wise, I turn to you for understanding. When I'm proud, I turn to you for humility. When I am in need, I turn to you. When I'm full, I turn to you. Always, I turn to you just to say thank you. The scripture I'm going to talk about today is Proverbs 15:23, and I call it, what did you say? See, it says, a man hath joy by the answer of his mouth, and the word spoken in due season, how good it is. And I think that's appropriate for the show today. And let me just open up to say, Lord, let me be a simple fool, not a hardened fool. Right? And though I make many mistakes in my life, I want to learn from those mistakes. I want to improve, to do what is right. You know, as the Bible says, to be a simple fool. Please never let me become a hardened fool who doesn't listen or learn from my mistakes. I pray for your guidance, your direction, and wisdom each and every day. Thank you for hearing me. In your name I pray. Amen. And so it is. That's that piece, y'all. It's All Verse Thursdays. Hey, I have a dynamic guest lined up for you. He's my homeboy, you know, Chi-Town in the house, representing. We actually, I feel like we've been knowing each other for years, and we've been connected through a good friend of mine, Doug Infinite, who I call my brother, who also shout out to Doug Infinite for producing that intro, the track. But this brother is super talented, you know, and so I was trying to think of what's the best way to introduce him, because he wears literally so many hats. You know, he's a boss, he's a CEO, he's an executive producer. You know, I don't know if you grew up in any urban area, you probably heard about Junebug, or you know a Junebug, or a reference to a Junebug. Well, he represents JuneBugandThem.com, right? We'll talk a little bit more about that. He's a creator. He's a curator of TV shows, and he creates music. He's written books. He's got partnerships with Fubu Radio and Polsky Center for Entrepreneurs. And he's his hide hustle, not side hustle, is Director of Marketing Explosion in the diversity and equity space, right? And just a couple more things, but let me bring him into the scene, man. My man, Terrence Seaphus, what's happening, brother?
Man, I gotta snap my fingers for your poem and praise God for the prayer. Everything is lovely, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Brown Sugar Sweet. She say, Terrence. Yeah. We got to follow it. Thank you, Brown Sugar. We appreciate you checking in with us tonight. Yes, man. You know, I didn't get to the degrees and the hats that you wear, the BS and not for bullshit, but for Bachelor of Science, right? In media, marketing from Northwestern, MDiv from Chicago Theological Seminary. And I love the last one. HBCU school, if my counselor wouldn't have tricked me, Howard University. Shout out. Welcome to All Verse Thursday.
Man, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Timmy, what's up? We was just talking about you, brother. Good to see you. Yeah. Shout out. So, you know, this is a show where artists come on and they share their artistry, right? You know, and artists, you know, just for perspective for those that may not have be familiar with ALLVERSE, it's not limited to poetry, right? It's really the ancient responsibility that goes back centuries, where in the tribes there was a person or persons, a few of them, who were responsible for sharing information and passing along information, history, or ancient wisdom and text and things of that nature. And a lot of times it was done in a verse. You know, sometimes, you know, if you think about the Quran, it was recited, and people would say it was like poetry. And so it's not limited to poetry, because verse is really rhythm and rhyme and story, right? And so you do a lot with painting a lot of stories, from creating TV shows to music to business ventures. But I gotta ask you, man. It's an artist. You gotta share your artistry. It's kind of like a requirement for the show. Can you share something with us?
Yeah, I'm gonna share something you produced, and as you were spot on, Mark, man. You just got me. I was almost jumping up and shouting with the proverbs and the prayer. I love that, man, because that's life, that's water. So
Mm.
I produce artist by the name of Tracy King, and we bought the Cushites together. And one of my favorite pieces by her, I'm just gonna give you a little bit because I ain't Tracy, I ain't Kahari B, I ain't none of the great poets here in Chicago. But she would say, "Wake, shake your soul up from its sleep. Who is your shepherd? Is it little Bo Peep? As your mind counts the sheep while you sleep, as they leap, only God can keep the sheep from the valley deep. Drink water. Drink water, liquid life is good for demons, stress, and strife. Man, you're living left when you're not living right. You're going to get left when you're not living right. Drink water. Snap, 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 snap."
That's that piece. That's that piece. Yes, yes. Drink water. I love that, man. And the fact that you're able to recite it, right? That says a lot about who you are, right? So
Yes, sir.
let's tell the folks a little bit about who you are. I know they heard the introduction. We talked about Junebug in them, right? Uh, I just love that name. And there's a good friend of mine, Marty Lee, and when he's telling me a story about some of the kids in his area of responsibility, he said, "Yeah, but when Junebug in them," and so when you said that, I was like, I got to share this with Marty, man. Um, you do a lot, right?
Yeah,
You do a lot.
I'm
I
like a
mean,
millennial.
how do you how do you get involved with so many things? I mean, from you went to college, you majored in media, then marketing, kind of stayed with that at Northwestern, then the Divinity School, right? And uh, so, like, where did it come from? Is all of this like connected, or for those that I know that it is, but for those that may not see it, can you connect the dots for us in terms of your beginnings, in terms of how you got to where you are?
Oh yeah, sure, man. I love to say I grew up right down the street from your high school. I grew up in Rockwell Projects, west side of Chicago. Shout
West
out to
Side.
Rockwell, west side. And I talk to a lot of old friends, and we talk about the foundation of family and community. And so what happens with Black folks is that we are always grounded in those two things: our family, whether it be our immediate family, our extended family, other people's family. We have more cousins. We pick up cousins in school. If we like you, you are our cousin.
Right,
All of that.
right.
And so, and community is where you learn all these different things about how you're to navigate your values, your mores, and all that other stuff. And suffice it to say, Black people, to me, have always been the people of values and morals. I don't care how people try to mess that up. We've always stood for something solid.
Mm.
And so, progressing forward, that's what I took with me to education, because I had a mom. I grew up in a single parent home who said two things I remember from the age of 3.
Mm.
The first thing she said: "You going to church? Oh, you going to church? You going to church?" I'm like, I'm 3 years old. And then the next thing she said was, "Y'all going to college? Y'all going to college? You're going to college." So when
Mm.
somebody asked me when I was 5 or 6, "What are you gonna do when you grow up?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to college."
Mm.
And
Mm.
I didn't even know what that was, right? But I think you said something earlier when you talked about Proverbs, the stuff that comes out of our mouths. And
Mm.
so for her just saying that constantly, it was automatic.
Yeah.
Went to college, went to Illinois State University. Go Redbirds! I call them Blackbirds. It's like you gotta come to our homecoming, because our homecoming is like an HBCU school,
Is that
and
right? I've never been down to ISU.
we gotta invite you, man. I have to send you some pictures because it's off the chain. I mean, we're anchored by the fraternities and sororities, the Divine Nine, but it's
Mm.
really the alumni that
Mm.
makes us who we are, right?
Mm. Mm.
And so from there, I had a great experience. As a matter of fact, my best time, which you probably can attest to, was those college years. You know,
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
attest to that, right?
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I had a ball in college. I maxed it out.
Yeah, boy. We all
Yeah,
know the
yeah.
stories.
I got the T-shirt. Earned it.
Yeah, yeah. But one piece of advice I would give to anybody, my uncle gave to me, he was a psychologist. Right before I went to college, he said, "This is the secret to success in college.
Mm,
Go to the library and study 2 hours every day." I
mm.
said, "On Sundays?" He said, "On Sundays." He said, "But if you go to sleep in the library, that doesn't count for your 2 hours. You know, once you wake up and you get it together, that counts." So that was my thing while I was in college. I mean, it would be parties on Friday and Saturday. My buddies would be like, "You going to the party?" I'm like, "After I come out of the library." And
Mm,
so that piece stayed with me at Illinois State. And again, that was one of the best experiences of my life. I still have some great friends. I'm on a homecoming committee. We have a scholarship committee. We give money to Black kids. And
mm.
so again, you go back to family and community, right?
Right,
And
right.
so that did it. I worked in corporate America, and they were paying for my graduate school. So I said, let me go on and apply. Mama Cephus. Let me go on and apply for graduate school. And so I applied to a few of them and got accepted. And it was a little different because I spent time away from school, but I believed I could do it. Right.
Okay.
Again, that belief from your childhood, your family, and your community. And sure enough, after crying in the bathroom, the first probably 6 classes, I used to
Mm,
go in the bathroom and cry and pray and everything else, man. And those study habits helped. And then God blessed me to go ahead and finish there.
yeah.
Then
Hey,
just from
hey.
there,
Valerie says, "Mama knows best." Yes. Uh, yes. I'm just gonna say yes. My mama might be listening, so I'm gonna say yes.
Mama knows best. And so, I worked in corporate America and I lived in New York. And that's where I first saw poetry when I was in New York.
Oh, okay.
And in my mind, I was like, when I go back to Chicago, we're doing this. And then I saw a young lady, Tracy King,
Mm,
and we produced a CD. And I just kept thinking, I always think big, tell people, think big, think big.
right.
And so one day I was like, oh, we got to really boost this poetry community in Chicago. And we started doing this set called Soul Poetry Cafe.
Yeah. Shout out
And
to Soul Poetry Cafe. Yeah.
yeah, Malik Youssef was our initial host, and he was really good. And then I saw Kahari B, disco poet Kahari B on
Yeah.
stage. And I said, he's the host for a TV show. And I'm sitting in the back at the Isaac Hayes restaurant. We used to get 200 plus people in there. One
Mm.
night we got 600 plus. And I'm like, this is going to be a TV show. And my man, I had a business partner, General McCarthy. He was
Mm,
great. We would just hustle together, man.
mm,
And a few years later, I got a call about doing TV shows. And I was like,
mm.
I don't really know how to do that.
Yeah.
Right. But me and my cousin used to sit down and say, we can do that. We can do this. And remember, we're talking about before the internet came.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so
We have what you call ATFSO. I tell my students that ability to figure stuff out. I tell them stuff, but really ability to figure shit out, right? You have that,
that's right.
you can do it. You don't have to have done it before because you can what they call applied learning from something else and apply it
That's
over
right.
here, right? So
That's
Dawn
right.
Richmond says she attended the Soul Poetry Cafe. Thank
Oh,
you, Dawn.
she and her husband are not, they don't just attend, they put their money where their mouth is. We have a
Mm.
VIP thing. She'll come in and she'll say, let me help you. And I'll be like, help. So, because
So
I
you
just,
started you went to school, you were doing corporate America, you went to New York and got inspired by the poetry. You went to some of the sets up here like Norican Cafe or something like that.
you know what? The only sets I went to were like the little dreadhead, so we gonna cipher. I went
Yeah,
to a couple of those, and that's when I said, okay, I know what to do with this,
right.
right?
So you
So I
brought it to
never,
Chicago.
well, I bought it to Chicago in a bigger way. Let's
Mm,
just, because it was in Chicago, I just wanted to make it bigger. Because if you
mm.
make the category bigger, you give the artist more exposure.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said that earlier, the concept of thinking big, right? And so, I just want to get the audience a chance to get a. We're going to talk about Junebug in a minute because I want to get to that. But just to bring it full circle. How do you end up in divinity school? Is that from
Well,
Mama saying you're gonna go to church?
well, it always goes back to mama. But no, I gave my life to the Lord. I have, however we say that, and I felt like anything you put your mind to and your heart to, you got to give it your all. That's the kind of person I am.
Mm.
And so it only took 2 years for me to start getting these musings. But part of why I wanted to go to New York was to listen to this Black theologian, Greek Hebrew scholar. He took me to levels spiritually that just, I mean, made me soar.
Mm.
And I started feeling like, I needed to go to seminary. So when I came back to Chicago, I talked to Bishop Brazier, my pastor at the time. Great man, great man. His son is
Mm-hmm.
now pastor. And he said, yeah, son, I see the calling on you. And
Mm.
so I'm like, wow, you see that? So uh, I went to Michigan and talked to my grandfather because he was a minister and my uncle, his son. So they laid hands on me and prayed. Came back to Chicago, talked to Bishop and his son. They did the same thing without me telling them. So
Mm.
I knew that it was time. And so I went there, but the focus in seminary was social justice.
Yeah.
Uh, and so for me, it all makes sense. Even today, we see it makes more sense than anything. So you need the social justice part with the word, because the word is life, but you need the practical part of the word. You need the love, you need the understanding, the non-judgmental stuff, the grace. And
Yeah,
so,
and the social empowerment. You talked about in New York. You had Cone. It was talking
yeah.
about the theology and Black liberation. Right. My wife's she's finishing in May with her MDiv from
Mhm.
Union Theological
Oh, that's a good one.
Seminary,
Yeah.
and is going to pursue the PhD as well. But I was looking at. I don't know if you've seen this. For those who haven't seen, there's a great show on PBS. You could YouTube it, and if you don't have
Oh, yeah.
PBS, The Black Church.
Church. Yeah.
Yeah, Henry Louis Gates. And I tell you, there's some things that were shared in there that and I was similar to you in the church, and from a very early age. I was Pentecostal church. Using apostolic, so very similar. But I didn't realize really the Black church, the impetus of being the cornerstone for all of the movements, right? In
Mhm.
terms of learning how to come together, right? Because they couldn't even come together and worship at one point in time, or even the
Right.
history of the church that it played. It's a phenomenal show. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, I highly recommend it. And it's not religious, or you don't have to be religious to appreciate the
Right.
piece of the history that they share of just about the role that the Black church has played. And really, I think there's still an opportunity to come back to that in a very powerful way, particularly given the times of the need for empowerment is obvious, right? Turn on the news every week. Pick a city. There's something on the news about something that's happening in our community, and so, yeah. So man, I'm glad to have you on the show, man. I'm excited. You
Boom.
related to one of my best friends and brothers, man, Doug Infinite, man. Now, you've always been connected to art.
You know what? Now this is going to be for your viewing audience.
Okay, for my
I
viewing
think
audience, yeah.
I think that everything we do has something to do with creativity. Whether you're an accountant, whether you are a scientist, whether you work in engineering, or whether you work in the traditional art forms like music, dance, film, theater, I think it's all creativity.
Yeah.
We have to not let people make us think of, oh, he's creative or she's creative because you look or you say something. No, I was analytical before I was creative. So, but I think analytics is part of being creative.
Yeah, if you believe in the creation story made in the image of God, all God did was create. Every
That's
day.
it.
Every day. That's all he did was create. Oh, that's good. Create. Let me create some more. That's good too. Oh, let me create some more stuff. So, yeah. So I want to move on to talk a little bit about Junebug in there. But before we talk, let me just give the people a little snippet of some of the artistry that you've curated. You mentioned some of the poets, and I'd love to have them on the show. Malik and disco poet and Tracy. I'd love to have them as guests and highlight them. We could do a whole Chicago, a month dedicated to Chicago, right?
I will get it for
Chi-Town.
you.
Yeah, let's make it happen because they've got some really incredible stories as well as dope artists. And so, but let's show the people just a little bit about what when we say you curate things, like what that means and what that looks like. So, give me a second to put this in the stream.
We need y'all to get up out your seats and dance. The DJ gonna kick it, Chicago house music style, and I'm gonna do some poetry.
Intrigued by your intellect, making it hard to keep my hormones in check. So I wrote a check that my ass can't cash.
Concealing myself and revealing myself. I'm breaking myself and rebuilding myself.
What I need for you to do is start searching for the truth. And if you have to, go ahead and snatch up some dirt with them roots.
Functional, rationale, flow stay incredible. Spit the intellectual, mystical, general.
The sparks from this chemistry has ignited a fire that's hotter than hell, making Lucifer himself have to find another place to dwell.
You're oh so irresponsible, my strange love.
Judge yourself with all your errors, all your flaws. Get your full-length mirror and stand there with no draws.
You family, now there we go. What you say? What you say over there?
Junebug in there. What's up? I love it. I love it. Oh man. So that's a really a awesome sizzle reel, man. You can contact them, junebuggingthem.com, or email junebuggingthem@gmail.com. If you want to get in touch, the website has a lot of interactive videos, some examples, a little bit more detail of some of the different artists and some of the great work that you put together. Before we move in, the name Junebug, you can't get past that, right? Is there a Junebug in your life that inspired you with this?
Oh yeah. So again, remember, I grew up in Rockwell Projects.
I'm very familiar with Rockwell.
So we had four: Bud Clennis, Bud Roden, the other Bug, and Junebug Copeland. Junebug Copeland was a superstar basketball player, as good as Isaiah Thomas, if not better. And Junebug was ahead of me, but he also was like the guy that looked out for us, right? And so, I mean, when we got on the basketball court with him, he was better than most of us, all of us probably, but he treated us like equals. And then he went to Gordon Tech, and so I followed his basketball career. We stayed in touch. I went to Illinois State. He went to Bradley. We stayed in touch. Then we lost touch. So when I was thinking of the platform, I specifically thought about him because I didn't even know what Junebug meant. It means friend and community.
Is that right?
What have we been talking about? Friend and community. And so he exemplified all of that with all the guys. I mean, it was like a mother hen with the chicks, we were following him, but he always treated us with grace and equal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To be that kind of superstar.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's him that I had in mind.
Well, I love that. I love the paying homage, and remembering not only where you came from, but the people that were critical to who you are today, right? And, it's something as simple as having a pass, right, to be able to be the kid that goes to church or whatever it was, and because that's my little homie, that's a lot. That means and I was little, so I know it. I had some of them passes, and I'm grateful for them. Don't forget, my Junebug was named Red, and so absolutely, and if it hadn't been, I don't know what things might have turned out, Hey, kids,
everybody had a June bug. Everybody. His name might not have been June bug, but everybody had one.
Right. So the platform was named in honor of him, and I love the fact that that's what the name means is community. So you created this platform for what reason? What to tell the people what is June bugging them about?
So when I talk, most of the time, if not all the time, I talk in terms of we. I rarely say me. And so Junebug them is really about one thing. It's about community. It's a platform. It's built off of a passion that God put in me, but it's also built for people who have a passion to be showcased. And so again, I want to speak to the listening people, the viewing people. This platform is for artists with a passion. And I mean, truthfully, it's still a we showcase the site to advertising agencies, venture capitalists, people with money, because we're relaunching, redoing the site. But there is money out there. There are advertisers out there. And we are the largest percentage of social media users, internet users, in-home television watchers. We almost consume that stuff at 100%, but where are the dollars going, right? So the goal for us is to what? Build that community, bring the artists into the platform, and we all make that money together.
Beautiful.
See, back to community.
Yeah, I love it. And you know, the circulation, right? It keeps going around. And you show somebody else how to do it, and then they can show somebody else how to and build on that. That's beautiful, man. So you know, TV shows, Soul Poetry Cafe night, live events, music, and so you got your hands in a lot. Do you play an instrument, or do you?
Well,
you just have a good ear, or what? How does that work?
Yeah. So again, these are gifts of God. So in college, go back there, I was a DJ at a radio station, and first it was like a pop station. But one Saturday, I was like, forget that pop, I'm gonna play some black music. So the program director called and she said, turn that off, go with the program. I said, forget that, I'm black. There's the social justice part. So they had a meeting and finally decided to let me and other black DJs play black music. But there was a bigger national public radio station. They played classical music, but they had a jazz show, and then they started doing a soul show. So I worked in a classical music library for a year, and all I would do was listen to the music. And because I think I listened to that music so well, and I still listen to it today, I was able to pick up what sounds I hear in my head and echo that to live musicians and say, it goes like this. I hear this. And then they're so gifted, they play. I do play congos though. That's it. And I play the shofar. I can blow the shofar.
Oh, okay. We got to do a jam section next time. What's up, Kenny?
The shofar?
Yeah. No, you know, with the congos and the bongos, I'll let you blow the shofar. But you know, hey, everything comes together in the right place at the right time, man. You know, folks be like, man, did y'all hear that? What was that? What was that sound? I never heard that before. But man, no, I love it. I love the diversity, and you talked about really engaging folks, not just to be entertained, but to monetize it. So how does that work? Is that coming along? Have you been able to monetize Junebug and them and help other artists monetize their gifts?
Well, let me back up and talk about my team first. So
absolutely.
So we have a team predominantly of volunteers, right? These are people who believe in the passion. We pay our production people. Where we've had challenges have been in the technology space. And so we started raising money to get the technology right. We just interviewed, the guy was great. By the way, my advisor is a former president of ABC, ESPN, Disney Radio, loves the Lord, advises me for free. Zamira Jones, everybody. I'm going to give it up for him.
Shout out.
but he was like, I think they're trying to rip you off. And not that he thinks, he knows, right? And so the good thing is that I hadn't written a check because we did raise a lot of money, a lot to me, because I've been broke for the last, I don't know how many years. So now we're talking to the tech people to make sure that tech, because that part has to be right. I always say 4 or 5 parts have to run together. The technology, the content. You always have to stay in the face of venture capitalists and private equity firms, and then your team. If those things run, they have to run together. They can't run separately.
So let me ask you this right quick though. What are the venture capitalists and private equity? What are they looking to invest in? Is it Black entertainment, or what's the key for them? That's the category.
Well, you say media and technology because we're a media tech firm. And so you know, they didn't teach me and you probably about venture capitalism in college because it's kind of new. It's kind of new, right? But when you talk to these people, they don't see people who look like you and me, right? And so it's an education. And there's a lot of, I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of racism there. One guy, I love it. He told me this 2 years ago, old white guy. He said, look, he said, you probably been talking to a lot of people, right? I said, yeah. He said, can I be honest? I said, yeah, be honest, man. He said, well, people who look like me, they know you got a great thing going, but we just don't want to write you a check. We're not trying to help you. And I appreciated that. So we have to help ourselves. See, back to community. You know, so I'm learning all the stuff I can. I'm gonna make an announcement to you. I haven't said it to anybody else.
Okay.
But I got invited and accepted to this. It's not an accelerator, but it's a venture capital firm where they get you together so that they can present your business in front of investors, starting at between $15 and $25 million.
Awesome. Congratulations. Y'all heard it right here on ALLVERSE Thursdays, y'all. Clip that. My man Kenny's in TV says money. He's in the technology space too. He was telling me about some of the pains with also see, he said, I got a product that needs investors. But I think there's a lot of us. Yeah, I'll put his contact up. There's a lot of us in this space, and we just don't know how to go about finding financing for it, right? And that is a thing, you know, that is a big thing. Venture capitalists, you know, hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, right? A small venture capital fund is 250 million. That's a small fund. It's a small raise. Right. So that we know that there's money out there. And so the fact that you're figuring out how to tap into that, that's big. That's huge. That could change the game for a lot of folks.
Yeah, and Tim Higgins, he always gives me his conservative view, him and Peter Gates. They're very ultra conservative. I had to tell him, think like a 21-year-old man. Don't be thinking like your big executive position in banking. I need you to think like, you know, when you're 21, you can do anything. Right?
Yeah, thinking big, right? You know, I think we're born with that. Hey, the world is mine. I can do whatever. That's and right. We learn that don't believe that, right? It doesn't mean that it's not true. We just learn don't believe that.
Right.
So shout out for all the parents that allow their kids space to learn and to explore really the things that are in them, you know. And so, this June bug in them is about to get infusion of capital. So once this capital hits, because we're going to declare that that's going to happen. What's next?
Well, we had a huge production schedule right at the time they announced the pandemic. So we're going back to filming. Like I said, they have to run together. We have the money for the technology space. We have the contacts and advertising. And so now it's just about making sure the tech space is right and putting that stuff up. We're actually running a campaign. Our first campaign is called Say Their Name, Tell Their Story. And that's about all of the innocent people who have been killed, murdered, manslaughtered, whatever you want to call it, by police officers. We want to keep their legacy going. And that's for artists to tell the story about a person, and we're going to tell them how to do that.
So say that again. I'm gonna type that in the chat. Say their name.
Say their name.
Uh-huh.
Tell their story.
Yeah. So is this a campaign that folks can get behind and support, or just stay tuned to look for it?
It's a campaign first that we're looking for. We'll be looking for artists. So we'll let me just tell you how this works. So
yeah.
So once the site is up and really ready, you'll see that campaign as the headline, right? Say their name, tell their story. And then you'll hear a couple of pieces that were produced by like Black Stacks out of Seattle. We have our own band, United Tribe of Peace. Malcolm Malley Ingo, he did a piece. Disco Poet Kahari B is doing a piece, and then a few other folks are going to do something. But the rest of it is going to be open for artists to submit their piece. What we're going to do with the campaign is ask those artists to send us everything they can about how we can promote them. But as we raise money, we want to create a fund for those families who lost somebody to that kind of terrorism, because that's what it is.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. And so when we support that as Black people, guess what? Advertisers will get behind it. Those advertisers are always looking for new artists who have their own original music. We're trying to create a platform to get them to see them, right? As long as they're clean.
Yeah. So say their name, tell their story campaign in honor of the lost souls to the tragedies of the terrorist acts, as you talked about in the community. And so when can people start submitting? Is this something that they can start submitting, or?
Well, again, because it's your show, here's another first.
Hey, why not? Y'all heard it here. That's why I tell people to tune in to ALLVERSE Thursdays, right? Because you never know what's going to happen, right? I don't think there's a product like this. It might be, but I'll say I don't think. I haven't seen. I'm not aware of it. And, you know, we have fun. We inspire. We inform. You know, and that's what we get to do. I mean, this is not like work. This is like, wow, you know, a great time. Right. So go ahead, tell us what's the announcement.
So you can email us at junebugnim@gmail.com and just say, put in the subject, say their name, and then I'll send you the information that you need to get to prepare for that. Now, artists will say, well, am I getting paid? No, you're not. But you will get exposure. And let me tell you about that. So there's a marketing company that's going to get behind this campaign. And you know that habit forming marketing, when you look for underwear on Prime, that underwear follows you all the time. So we got in touch with a firm, again, Zamira Jones, shouts out to him. They're going to promote this in front of millions and millions of people with what they call habit forming marketing. So those artists who we're featuring will get to be seen in front of millions and millions of people very fast. And, you know, that's where our investment is going, because we're giving them money. We believe a workman is worthy of his hire, but they're not charging us. They're not charging us what they would normally charge.
Hey, I like the way you just dropped the scripture in there, just in passing.
Oh yeah, I believe
that. A workman is worthy of his hire, but you know.
Yeah, people don't have to know we talk about scriptures. Yeah, we know it's the word of life.
You know, he just dropped that. Hey, you know, you might want to pick that up. Hey, so let me get a shot. Hey, ALLVERSE Thursdays, right? Artistry and purpose combined in conversations and dope verses. I got my man Terrence Seaphus with us tonight. The show is brought to you by the NIA Center. You know, you can support us. You know, NIA Center. One, if you're not following us, follow us, right? That's a big piece of, as you heard Terrence talking about, the exposures, right? And tell a friend, share it. You know, there's recordings of all of the past shows. I'm sure if you just blindfold and pick one, that you'll find something in there for you. That's how confident I am about what we have and what God is really doing through me and through us in this venue. we also got a campaign to improve our technology, right? I need some better headphones, right? I need some better cameras and stuff. So you want to make a donation, feel free. You see the information scrolling across the bottom. We accept and appreciate your support. If it's a prayer, if it's a thought, whatever it is, we appreciate it. We also get that if you don't ask, you don't receive, right? So we're asking for your support and follow us, right? Follow us. We do a lot of really interesting programs. We also have every other Sunday show that we call Sacred Space Sunday. Now, Sacred Space Sunday is an interactive, it's an interfaith conversation, right? And it's every other Sunday. The next one is March 21st. It'll be led by my wife, Naomi Jewel. And we talk about different topics from an interfaith point of view. We welcome all opinions and thoughts. We just ask that you respectfully listen, right? And then we have our standard formula: insight plus application equals results, right? And so we can share some insight. You're like, oh, wow, that was interesting. That was good, whatever. Okay, that without doing anything doesn't mean anything. Your life will be exactly the same as it was before you heard it. So we always give you a tip. We call it I plus A equals R. So the application, here's what you can do right now today, regardless of your faith, to create some results in your life. And so that's standard. The next show is going to be March 21st at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check us out. And then next week on ALLVERSE Thursdays, we've got a young lady out of Atlanta, Sabrine Jolly. She's really amazing artist. She's actually got a fellowship she's getting ready to go do, I think, in marketing. She's writing children's books. She's an educator, Terrence. So to your point, is like learning what are the other things in the system that can really support community, right? Because it really is about community. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit. I want to, before we close, what other projects or things are going on that people can tap into? What else is going on? What else you got coming up?
Well, not
that you haven't. You said a lot, so.
Well, so we create our own music, but again, we don't want to be just the consumers of stuff. And when I say we, I mean African Americans, Black people, Cushite people, whatever. People of color. I hate that. Brown and Black people, because people of color really is colored people. That's what they're saying, colored people. And so I don't like that. But we had planned to launch our own contest show. And again, ours is going to be so different that we want, and again, for us, the draw is advertising agencies. We want advertising agencies to be locked into the people. And so where you have like one winner with these contest shows, I can't give you too much information, but there'll be multiple winners.
Okay.
And we've created it a 5-year span, and we put it in front of she was the former network buyer for American Idol and Dancing with the Stars. And she said, I couldn't read her in the meet. I couldn't get a read how she felt. But what she said to me is, I love it. Do it right now. That's what she said. And so again, first and foremost is for our people. We have to learn how to put our money in each other and then invest that and then get money back, give money back to each other, right? And maybe it doesn't come directly back to the person, but look how much we just give. If you work for a corporation, you give your money to whoever's handling that 401k fund. And when the market turns bad and they lose your $100,000 and $200,000, you just go, okay, but you trust them. We have to learn how to trust each other a lot more. And if that's with $10 or $100, no matter what, at least we learn to trust each other, right?
So for the listening audience, as you said, I love the way you say that. Is there a call to action? Anything that do you want them to? Is it to follow you? Is it what can they do to support what you're up to?
Man, that's a good question. I am so anti-social media. It's a shame. I don't even like being in front of this camera. So what you can do.
You do it well, though, brother. You do it well.
That's what they say, but I don't like it. You could literally email. Email is the best way. You can follow us on Instagram we're Junebug Nem. That's who we are on Instagram. We have a Facebook page. Junebug Nam, which we're going to actually turn to a Facebook group. And then if it's serious, you see that email, you got to be on this show to see that email. Then you can email us right there and say Mark or something, Allverse, say something where I'll know that you connected, and then I can give you the goods.
Yeah. Well, brother, man, this has been phenomenal, man. I was excited when we talked about you being on the show, and I didn't know half of the things that you shared. The announcement, y'all heard it here, right? My man Terrence Seaphus, give it up for him. So now, Soulport Cafe is coming back, right?
Right, it's here. One more thing, another first, man. 2 firsts.
Okay.
So I was waiting to see you on this show, and what you and I will be talking about is bringing your show to Junebug Nam to do what? Get you in front of the advertising agencies.
I love
it. Get you in front, right? And then when you do the all Chicago artists, we're gonna raise some money for you, and we're gonna sponsor that. Be it Junebug Nam, or I get the fraternities to cough up some. I know they choking right now. All of them. You're a Kappa, I'm a Sigma.
Yeah.
We got the Q's and the Alphas. Get that money.
Yeah. Hey, but your investment banker says nice. You know, great idea, Brown Sugar. Yes, great interview, Terrence. I agree. It's been a phenomenal. Hey, I welcome that. I received that. I really, what there's a saying. You know, what comes from the heart goes to the heart. Nia sent a clip that's my emote. If you're on Twitch, you can see that's me with the headphones saying clip that. Now, one of the fun things you can do on Twitch is there's actually like a little director's cut thing. If you clip it, it'll give you 30 seconds. It'll save a clip. You can name it. So you can clip whatever you want anytime you hear it. So definitely we're going to clip that. We're sponsoring, advertising. I definitely want to do the show, man. I'm grateful for my man Doug, my brother, bringing us together years ago. This was before I even had Allverse, the radio show. 5 years ago, we talked when I was first living in DC, and I think you were. I don't know if that was when you were beginning Soulport. I know you were looking for content for your TV shows and things, and so just to the progression that's happened, man. And I think the way that you talked about how do we build community, right? And build it, morally, build it financially, build it in all aspects so that everybody wins. And it's not just a nice idea, right? It's not just a nice idea. As Brown Sugar said, we can spread the wealth. There's more than enough. There is more than enough. And so any last words for the audience before we close out?
Just remember that if other people are so threatened by us that they would do what they do to oppress us, just imagine what we would be like if we stuck together. Because maybe they know something that we don't know. But if we stuck together and had that one mind, because when the people had one mind and put their mind to work, there was nothing that would hold them. And so I see Sean Butler, SB, another great artist. So that's what I want to say. We have to start working together. And sometimes it starts in a small community like what you and Black Stacks, Kahari, SB. I see you, Duchess, Rhonda, my pledge daughter, Yolanda, all these people. We have to work together and then set the fire aflame.
I love it, man. Man, this has been awesome. I'm so glad you've been on the show. That's the Nia Center in the back shouting out hallelujah, I think, something like that, or praise him. Sean Butler, good biz, brothers. Thank you. We appreciate you, Sean, man. I heard that you're an artist, man. This is a space for him. Really, what we do here, man, is to promote dope artistry, but really the intention is to I call it inspirement, right? So we'll entertain, we'll have some entertainment, but we're going to give you something that educates, empowers, or engages you under purpose, right? And intention, and moving powerfully in that, because as we know, when we do that, all sorts of things start happening, right? All sorts of things start happening. So I want to give our blessings of oneness, love, and joy. Anybody that's listening tonight, we really appreciate you tuning in. If there's somebody you want a blessing for, type your name in the chat. I know there's a little bit of a delay, but type your name in the chat. I'll hold on before we close out. We appreciate Terrence, what he's doing. Support Junebug and them, right? Support Junebug and them. And if you had a Junebug in your life and you're able to get in contact, tell them thank you. Go find them and tell them thank you, right? You never know how much that will mean to a person right now, right? The fact that they're being thought of will mean a whole lot. It actually, in some cases, may save a life, right? And so I don't mean to be drab, but I just like to keep it real, right? Because I know it's tough out here, right? It's tough out here. And when we connect to that, not that that makes us good or bad, but it just makes us a call to action to say, how do we support? Because you know, right now it may not be tough for me, but it has been and it will be again. So, you know, and I'm going to want some support when I'm going through a moment. And so we get to support each other, man. I love the fact that Junebug means community, right? You killed me with that. I love that. I love it. I love it. Yeah, my wife is 527,000. That's a lot of people, man. That's a lot of people. WC Brandon, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in.
Judge. He's a judge. He's a judge. That's one of my best friends from college.
All right, Judge. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate you, man. Looking forward to your support. So let me do this in this way, man. So I want to end it like the way I started it. All right, I want to end it with the way I started it. And so again, thank you for being on the show tonight. If you could just hold on before we close off, I want to wrap up with you. But let me go ahead and close the show. All right. So ALLVERSE Thursdays, what a night. What a night. Whew, I'm moved in so many ways. And so, you know, what I want to do is, let me share this. Let me share this. Close it with a poem. Too many decisions. Too many decisions. Work or play? Do I love? Should I stay? Right or wrong? Fast or slow? Maybe I'll go long. What do I know? Fight or fuss? Hard or soft? Flex or floss? Worker or boss? Sleep or pray? Do I go? Do I stay? All right, God, please have it your way. See, because only you can bring real peace. Only you can joy unleash. Only you can fill my soul. Only you can make me whole. Only you can do that thing. Only you can blessings bring. Only you can understand. Only you hold the world in your hand. Only you can right what's wrong. Only you have been there all along. Only you know what tomorrow holds. Only you can. That's it, truth be told. See, a cheerful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit saps a person's strength. Proverbs 17:22. So I pray, Lord, let me be bold. Help me to be bold. Help me to step into the calling that you have for my life. Let me not flee from what you have for me, but boldly race towards it. Help me to bring everything that I have to what you are presenting to me. Let me approach the opportunities that are being presented to me with courage and the remembrance that only you are my source. Amen. And so it is. It's been a blessing. Enjoyed. Shout out to our guest, Terrence Seaphus. Wonderful, wonderful. Shout support Junebug and them. Right. We'll see you next week and we'll go out. Shout out to my man, Doug Infinite, for the awesome outro and intro beat.